Hello Super Sentai fans and welcome back to Toku Topics. Today I'm taking a look at the Memorial Edition Ranger Key set, Anniversary Heroes, and Donbrothers set. So this is an interesting one. It's definitely probably the weirdest release, probably, of the whole Memorial Edition lineup here. And I have, mixed feelings on this set. It's not a bad set by any means, but it's also just kind of a strange one. So, of course, being a big fan of Ranger Keys, wanting to collect all of the brand new Ranger Keys, you have to get this for the Donbrothers, which is, as of right now, for only a very small amount of time still, the current Super Sentai series. However, for whatever reason, which even though you'd think this would work better for like Gokaiger if you did an anniversary kind of set, because that was an actual anniversary team, they did the anniversaries of every Sentai ending in 6. So we have the 6th Sentai with Goggle V, the 16th with Zyuranger, the 26th with Hurricaneger, the 36th with Ghostbusters, and the 46th for Donbrothers. So it's a weird one. So obviously also the box doesn't really fit the whole kind of Memorial Edition style, even though it does have the Memorial Edition branding to it, because it doesn't have, the name of it up there in that kind of font and everything. It does have the very nice Donbrothers logo. But yeah, it's just overall a strange set. And then down here, you can see the 6 Donbrothers Ranger Keys and all the kind of copyright stuff. And then right here, which we'll kind of zoom out a little bit so you can actually see the full thing, and we actually have some keys over here that I'm going to be comparing with later on, you get full Ranger Key teams with this. So you get the 5 Goggle V, you get the 6 Zyurangers, the 6 Hurricanegers, the 5 Ghostbusters, and the main 6 Donbrothers. And it's an interesting one here because due to the fact we've had other Memorial Edition releases, we already have Memorial Editions for all of these reds. Of course, Donbrothers is brand new, and we also have Dragon Ranger already from the Gokaiger. However, they've actually upgraded at least these two, Zyuranger and Hurricane Red, and there's also a lot of other just general Ranger Key upgrades in Goggle V and Zyuranger, and even some of the Hurricanegers, and even also some of the Ghostbusters from their original releases. So if you're looking for show-accurate props of what these keys look like in Gokaiger, this is the set for you. They actually did go back and upgrade some of these keys. So in that regard, it's the best version of any of these Ranger Key teams that you can get. But it just kind of slowly begins to devalue the worth of the Ranger Key set 35 Red Edition, which I still don't really even like that set because I had all those keys already and they didn't upgrade them there, which was one of my biggest problems with that set. And now they are upgrading them, and it's like, why did that set even exist? Except for just kind of an easy, quick way for everybody to get Red Rangers. It's just an interesting kind of, release method. But as you can see here, we have this really pretty shot of, if not all of the keys, most of the keys that are included in this set just kind of floating around there, which I really, really do like. And the Donbrothers keys in here are absolutely gorgeous. And on the back, you get this really cool, just, kind of crudely photoshopped image that I'm sure they kind of threw together pretty quickly of all these teams standing in a quarry together. And of course, it just shows you, hey, these are Memorial Keys. You can auto-flip them. Hey, it works in the Memorial Edition Mobirates, all that kind of stuff here. So you're going to get 28 Ranger Keys in this set, since you have, 2 teams of 5 and 3 teams of 6. So let's go ahead and open this up. We have a lot of Ranger Key comparisons to do and brand new keys to look at. So let's take a look at the set. Alright, so here are the 28 Ranger Keys in this set here. We have a lot to go over with these, and I kind of try to line them up as best as I can, and I am just very much anticipating and afraid of a Ranger Key domino effect going on here, so I'm sure somebody's going to ruin this little display. So I'm actually going to go ahead and start with the Donbrothers keys, and we'll kind of just move our way backwards so we can slowly disassemble this and not really worry about everybody falling apart here. So let's go ahead and start with Don Momotaro, which just looks so good as a Ranger Key. They captured the Donbrothers designs in an interesting way. I think 2 of these keys don't really work, and one of them doesn't really work, and we'll get to that. But Don Momotaro here looks great. They have the cuffs looking nice, the shoulder pads are there, the chest. He's actually in a little baggie in the box, which is the only key in a little baggie, because I think it's because of the little hair, kind of knots he has on his helmet. I think that they're kind of afraid of that breaking. But I mean, look at this. It is really, really pretty. There's just a little dot of fluff on there, but still looks so good. And of course, he is the one designated to kind of have the little copyright sticker thing, but you can remove that because they have now given every time they're doing one of these sets now, they've given one key, this little sticker thing back here that you can remove. That way, they don't have to put the copyright stuff there. which means that this keys look so nice and pretty now. So we will be taking a look at this in the Mobirates later on in this video. But for now, here is the Don Momotaro Ranger key. So we'll move him out of the way and slowly just kind of move everybody out of the way as we go along here. So next up from the Donbrothers, let's take a look at Zyuranger. So since the Donbrothers are kind of unique suits, it's kind of interesting to see them translated to 2 Ranger keys. But even though he's kind of a bulkier, you know, the fluff on the suit and everything, you don't really need that in the key, and I think it still captures the look of Zyuranger perfectly good, especially since since Donbrothers, Zyuranger, and Oni's sister are kind of more typical Ranger kind of designs. You know, they still have that little bit of uniqueness to them. This still works pretty well. So there's the helmet. And the back. And then, of course, key mode. Once again, looks great. Love the Donbrothers logo there. It's exactly what I would expect from a Zyuranger Ranger key. And then next up we have Oni's sister, which once again, I think also looks absolutely perfect. They captured the look very nicely. The paint detail on these, you know, post, I would say, I guess post Gokaiger, but just kind of post like Zyuranger or post Ninninger teams that we're finally getting keys of. I think they really put a lot of detail into these keys. Like the Zenkaiser and 2 Kaiser keys were really, really detailed, and I think the Donbrothers ones are as well. But they still kind of like, you know, keep in that theme of Ranger keys from the original Gokaiger era, to where I think that they are just as detailed as they would be if they were on screen. You know, sometimes Ranger keys are not like the most detailed kind of things. And some people think that these maybe are a little too over detailed for Ranger keys, but I don't know what else they would have like removed or not included, but they look fantastic. Now the other 3. So the other 3 Donbrothers are obviously a little bit more weirder designs, and so translating them into Ranger keys is kind of an interesting task. And I think it kind of works here, so we'll start with Kiji Brother. So of course the Kiji Brother is like that tall, lanky dude in the show. He has the really, really tall legs, and they can't really capture that in a Ranger key, so they just have him as a normal human size. And for him, I think that works. I think that this still looks just enough like Kiji Brother, and is perfectly acceptable. He does have that kind of larger helmet and everything too, which they kind of did keep, or kind of the weird proportions on the visor, which they did keep that, which makes it look a little off, or a little like weirdly proportioned, which I think kind of helps balance out the fact that he doesn't have long legs. It still makes him kind of look like he stands out. So for that, I think that that is a great addition, or a great decision to make the key the way that they did. And then there is Kiji Brothers Ranger key mode. Now the one key in the set that I am not really happy with how they've done it is Inu Brother. So of course, Inu Brother in the show is the little CGI dog, and so he would be like the size of like half a key. Now, I said this before in other videos, and I still very much stand by it. This key should have been done like the Buddy Ride keys were from Ranger Key Set Movie Edition, where the keys were kind of done upside down, because you could have had this sort of be like a half key, but instead they just made it like a full Ranger body with this giant head, which is a choice. This makes it look a lot more like the stage show suits that they used for Inu Brother whenever they had to actually have somebody in a physical suit, like, you know, for promotion stuff. So it looks more like that. It's still not a bad key. I don't necessarily like hate it, but it's just I feel like they should have taken advantage of a previous Ranger key mold and made it a unique key like that. And it makes me worried that they won't use the Megazord key modes or the Mecha key molds for the Zenkaigers, if we ever get the other Zenkaigers, which here's a really good mock-up of what that would look like, and I really hope that they would do that, but you know, that's yet to be seen if that's actually what they would do. But here he is in key mode, which looks perfectly good in key mode, so I'm definitely happy with how that turned out, but just, you know, a choice for sure to make Inu Brothers key. And then for here, Donbrothers is a really, really nice key as well with the metallic gold, but since you obviously can't really capture the shield there, that looks a little off, but pretty much just as off as any other 6 Ranger does, or that has a shield. But I feel like his helmet is like really squished in. Like it looks like it's just too like up and down tall, and not like left to right like wide enough. It's still captured really pretty with all that paint detail, which is gorgeous, and I think they got the nice scaling and stuff done there well, and the metallic gold really does make it pop. But I don't know, the helmet just looks a little off to me. But here is Donbrothers' key. Unfortunately, we do not have a Don Torbolt key in here, nor do we have like a Don Morasame or the Noto, so I could potentially see more Donbrothers keys in the future, but we'll just have to wait and see. So now we have a bunch of keys that got upgrades, and it's interesting. So I do like that we now have full teams of all these guys in a Memorial Edition capacity, but there's some weird stuff going on here. So we'll go ahead and start with the Go Busters, and I'll do a little bit of comparisons after we take a look at all these keys. So we'll go ahead and start here with Stag Buster. So here is a very nice metallic Stag Buster. Now you could already have gotten a metallic Stag and Beat Buster back in the day, like 10 years ago. There was promotional bonus versions of these keys that were metallic, and then of course you also could have gotten a Silver Stag Buster key when it was labeled as Silver Stag in Ranger Key Set Lost Edition. But this is the best version of the Stag Buster key that you can get because it is just recognized as Stag Buster. It's very metallic, it has the auto flip feature, and it's very, very, very nice. I think this key is captured pretty much absolutely perfectly. I love the metallic silver. It uses that same kind of original Stag Buster mold that was perfectly good. And here he is as a key, which also looks pretty good. And then of course to go with him, we have Beat Buster, which I pretty much have the exact same things to say about. Once again, looks great with the metallic gold. It's really nice to see that these Memorial Edition keys are upgrading the gold and silvers to actually be gold and silver and not that dull gray and kind of mac and cheese orangish off gold color that we've had before. So that's quite nice. However, I will say, I noticed something with this one in its key mode. So obviously it has the correct Go Busters key cut, but I noticed that mine, and I don't know if this is just like mine is an error. In fact, I actually will check this while I'm making this video here in a minute, but mine has the color cut as just a silver, or like a, not silver, but like it wouldn't be, I'll try to show you what I'm talking about. So here is the original Beat Buster key, right? Which I will be doing a comparison on in a second, like I said. He had the color cut of, I think, I want to say, is it yellow's color cut possibly? Yeah, yellow's color cut, because like Gold Rangers had yellow color cuts. And Silver Rangers had like this white light. And so he has the same kind of cut as Stag Buster here. So I'm not sure if this is just the key is designed wrong, or if I somehow got a wrong key. So I'm actually going to go check that right now on other people's videos and see if mine is just wrong or if it was just designed wrong. So yeah, I checked other people's videos and other people's have their keys like this. So it's just a wrong color cut there. So I presume that means that this would show the wrong light in the original Gokai Saber and the upcoming Memorial Edition Gokai Saber, which is just weird and quite unfortunate. So that's just one of a couple keys in here that I don't really understand the key cut difference here. So here is Red Buster, which looks exactly like the one from the After Gokai set, and I will be doing a little section of this video comparing all the reds later on, so we'll kind of skip past red here pretty quick. It looks exactly like probably a dozen other Red Buster keys you have before. And same thing with Blue Buster, which looks pretty much exactly like his original deluxe release from like 2012, I think is when that one came out, but it still looks quite good. No complaints with that one. There he is there. Now, for some reason, so Yellow Buster here, which ironically is the only Go Buster key besides red that's actually canon, because this was used in Zyuranger, for some reason, they painted the visor this really dark color, which is not really correct. So the original deluxe one looked perfectly good. I don't have my deluxe one here right now, but here's kind of a picture of it compared to it, and I don't know what is happening with that. So that is a very strange color decision on this one. But I mean, key-wise, it's perfectly good. But it's just like, once again, just a weird decision with the Go Busters keys that I don't quite understand. Speaking of keys that I don't quite understand, so there are some upgrades for 5/6 of the Hurricaneger keys here, and there is a difference with the Hurricaneger. So pretty much all the Hurricaneger keys are minorly different in some capacity. So starting with Kuwagata Riger, I knew I was going to mess it up. What they have done now is they've changed the keys, or they've painted them a little bit more to have these little white lines underneath there. So that's on all 5 of the other Hurricanegers besides Hurricaneger. And what's really cool about that is that makes it more, prop accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this in, and that is my little favorite Ranger key book that I got in a really old episode of Project Unlock, which shows you all of the prop keys. So I absolutely love this book. So Kuwagata Riger right there, or I did it again, Kuwagata Riger. The prop does have that white line on there. Now, what's interesting is that, we can't tell by key cuts, like what the keys props, they all have the same key cuts basically on the key props. But for whatever reason, they decided to change the Gokaiger and Hurricaneger keys to no longer say Gokaiger and Hurricaneger, and I'll get into that later on in the video, and I'll probably mention it again. But we'll get to that. But it's just very strange how they changed the entire key cut. So now they all just say Hurricaneger, but here is Gokaiger's key. And now we have Kaizoku's key, which does the same thing with the extra white line. So you get that kind of crimson color there. Looks pretty much just as good as his original key did back in 2012 when it was released in a deluxe format in the Legend Hurricaneger key set. And then we have Zyuranger, who's definitely a different shade of green, but I'll compare that to the original one in a little bit here. But still looks quite good with all the visor molding and everything. And there he is as a key. And then we also have, of course, the main trio of Hurricanegers with Hurricane Red, with that little white visor edition, or helmet edition. Still no silver arms, but I know some people complain about the silver arms not being on the Ranger key. However, if we go to the prop little booklet thing here, it is, where is that key? It is accurate for them to not have the silver there, but it is accurate for them to have the white lines. So these are now prop accurate Hurricaneger Ranger keys, and I can appreciate that. And there he is, right there. And we're getting pretty crowded of keys here, so here is Hurricane Blue. Once again, new little white line. And these keys are out just in time for the brand new Hurricaneger 20 Years After film that's coming out later on this year. So it's a nice little addition to include these guys here. And then finally for Hurricaneger, we have Hurricane Yellow, which once again has the little white line upgrade. And here he is as a key. Now the rest of the set is quite exciting to me for a couple of reasons. So the real potential of Legend or Memorial Edition Ranger key sets is upgrading the very long time Gashapon exclusive Ranger keys into a full deluxe format, and we have it. So a lot of these keys here, or most of these keys here, are in their best possible versions that we've ever had, and severely give some upgrades to some severely needed keys that needed upgrades, and I'm so happy about that. So we now have a complete Goggle V team that no longer has 4 members of it being Gashapon exclusive, and we have a more consistent Zyuranger team that no longer has 2 members being Gashapon exclusive and 2 members being Candy Toy exclusive, and they've upgraded all of them to be more show accurate, which I love it. So we'll go ahead and start back here. Actually, we'll go backwards in order. So Zyuranger. So interestingly enough, I do not have the original Terra Ranger or Tiger Ranger Gashapon keys yet. I do intend on still tracking them down, even though they're obsolete now. But this is my first time having a Terra Ranger key in my collection, and it's fully painted. The diamonds are the accurate size, I believe. I will go ahead and just double check that, because they did change the diamond size. Even from the promo pictures, actually. The promo pictures showed each of these keys in the set having different diamond designs, or different diamond sizes, because of how the original Zyuranger keys were released. But then they did fix that for the final version, but let's go ahead and just refer to the booklet here, just so we can, double check it once again. So, there it is, Zyuranger. And I'd say that's pretty darn accurate, I would say. Extending a little bit past that kind of, initial chest line there is where the diamond is supposed to go on this key, and I think they've got it, so I love it. I love it so much. And of course, these are Mighty Morphin keys, which is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, so, there's going to be a little bit of a desire for these keys, I would imagine. So next up we have Mammoth Ranger, which now has this white visor trim outline, which we'll compare it later on to his original Candy Toy key, but his key diamonds are actually the same size as his original ones, because the Candy Toy releases of Zyuranger had larger diamonds that were more show accurate, while the Gashapon ones had smaller diamonds that were less show accurate. So this doesn't really change diamond size at all for Mammoth Ranger, but it's still a very, very nice key. Then we have the one that got upgraded the most, in my opinion, and that is Zyuranger, with this brand new fixed helmet, which just looks so nice, and the diamonds. Now this one I would say is an awfully loose Memorial Edition key, which is really worrying to me, because this is probably one of my favorite upgraded keys in the set, and it's a pretty loose one, so I'm a little nervous about the longevity of how long that hinge is going to last on mine. I hope it doesn't end up turning up into a Super Mega Force key where it flips into a key constantly, but we have that. Here is Zyuranger, which also looks very nice, and this is upgraded from his Candy Toy release. Just like that. And then we have the final brand new key in the set that I never had before, and that is Tiger Ranger, because she was released, or he was released in this case, in the same set as Terra Ranger back in the day in the Gashapon line, but still very, very nice looking key. And there it is there. And then finally, from Zyuranger, we have Dragon Ranger, which is essentially the exact same version of this key that was released in the Memorial Edition Gokaiger, but still looks quite good. Now, he doesn't have any kind of trim or anything around his visor, which, going back to the book again, which I have backwards, we have a 6 Ranger page back here somewhere. So we will just double check the way that key is supposed to look, and it's pretty accurate. They never did that visor trim on that one originally. I say that actually the chest is still not perfectly accurate to how that key looked in the prop, but which is a little annoying since it's the second Memorial Edition release of this key, but you know, whatever, I suppose. So there is Dragon Ranger's key. And then finally, Goggle V of all teams, which I would say is probably not a super popular Sentai team, but nonetheless, it's great to have a really nice looking, matching, no longer 4/5 of a member team being Gashapon exclusive Ranger Key team, and I'm very happy with that. So here is Goggle Pink, which looks very nice as well. This is one of those keys that was delegated to that final main Gashapon set, the Premium Legend Edition set that had the other 4 members of this team, all Gashapon exclusives with those Gashapon key chests. So it's so nice to finally have all painted versions and very nice looking versions, and I think that that's where a big strength of these keys, if we continue to do like pre-Zyuranger teams especially, a lot of them were Gashapon exclusives back then, so they really could use the upgrades. So here is Goggle Black, which also looks excellent. Turn it into a key. So there is that. Next up we have Goggle Red, which is essentially the same exact version of it from the 35 red set, so nothing too crazy there. It's like the only red in this set, besides Red Buster, that really didn't get an upgrade. And then we have Goggle Blue, which, fun fact, Goggle Blue, the original Gashapon one, was actually the very first Gashapon Ranger key I ever stickered, so having a deluxe version of this, or a nice, very nice version, does kind of mean a lot to me. It's a nice, really cool upgrade for him to finally get a key like this. And then last but not least, the last standing member of this mess of keys is Goggle Yellow from Goggle V as well. It's now time to compare some keys. So, as you probably already noticed from this set, 5 of the keys that come with it were already released in a Memorial Edition format, which is a little annoying. I mean, 2 of these I feel are justified, 3 of them are not. So we're going to kind of break it down here and kind of compare all of them to their original Memorial Edition and now their new Memorial Edition, because with 2 of them there's been changes. So we'll go ahead and start with Goggle Red. So the one here in my left hand, this is the one from the Anniversary Heroes and Donbrothers set, and this one is the one from the Ranger Key set Memorial 35 Red. They look the exact same to me. Maybe this Goggle 5 or Goggle Red has a lighter yellow. I think it actually does on the chest there, but helmet-wise, which is not focusing, but helmet-wise they look virtually completely identical. It just does not want to focus very well on there, but there's that. The top is painted the same, which once again won't focus. The sides, like they are the same. And then turning them into key mode, you have the new one, and you have the old one. And once again, they look the same. So not a big difference there between the Goggle Reds, but it is what it is with that. So we'll kind of put that one back there and back there. I'm trying not to mix them up because I do kind of want to know which one's the difference. But here is one where it's not difficult to mix them up, and that is Zyuranger, where we can really see the upgrade that we have with this one, because wow, that is definitely an upgrade. So this one is just what the original deluxe ones look like, and this was from the 35 red set. So as you can see, the helmet looks like that. The chest has the diamonds, which I think is a decent size, but these have the candy toy size diamonds from the original releases, which are a little bit more accurate to the prop. And of course, that visor just looks so much better with the white trim. So this key definitely needed the upgrade. I think the new Zyuranger key is the best one we have ever gotten, and I don't know if it's really going to be able to get much better than that. So I am happy in that regard that they have upgraded Zyuranger in the Memorial set. And there are the 2 of them in key mode. And then the next one to get a slight upgrade, I wouldn't say it's as big of an upgrade as Zyuranger got, but that would be Hurricane Red, which the only difference is that they have this time is the new Memorial one has this white line painted at the bottom of the helmet, which was not there on the 35 Red set, or any other sets of Hurricane Red that we've ever had before. So this is the definitive Hurricane Red, so there is that. And of course the key modes look the same. So like I said, minor difference, but it is technically more, prop accurate to have that white line, so I can appreciate it in that regard. Now the Red Busters, these are very much the same. I really can barely tell the difference between which one is which, but this is the one from the Anniversary set, and this is the one from the After Gokai set. Both still look very good. There's really not even a difference in like visor paint or anything, which, wow, that doesn't want to focus, but there we go. I really can't tell any difference between these two keys. There's just like nothing to it. Especially in key mode. But there is that nonetheless. And then the final key to be re-memorialized is the Dragon Ranger key that was packaged with the Memorial Edition Gokai Cellular. So this is the one from the Anniversary set, and this is the one from the Cellular. And I want to say they maybe adjusted the size of the diamonds. I feel like I'm kind of just going crazy though, but it does still look pretty much the same as the original Memorial release. Even the green color is pretty identical. They're very, very similar Dragon Ranger keys. This one has a little bit of a bent arm there. Here they are in key mode, which are, once again, pretty much the same. So first up, in comparing the old releases to the new releases, I brought in two of the original Gashapon exclusive versions of Goggle V, and I mean, there's no contest here. So like this one, like I said earlier in the video, this is the very first Gashapon Ranger key I ever stickered. I stickered this key 10 years ago, so this sticker has been on there since 2013. And as you can see, it actually has held up pretty good over the years. It has a little frame right there, but no contest to having this very nice, pretty, really nice, good, very nice, I keep saying it over and over again because it's just so good, painted Ranger key chest, and I'm just so happy about that. But I mean, essentially color-wise and helmet-wise and everything, the keys are essentially completely identical. And then I brought in Goggle Black just because you can see how like all the fraying on Ranger key Gashapon stickers here, especially like on Black Rangers where when it's frayed you see all that white exposed, it just kind of breaks up the design. It makes it look bad. Not anymore. So look at that. So good. And I'm so happy to have Gashapon keys upgraded now. And of course they have the new upgraded hinges, so they actually look like deluxe keys and show prop keys and don't have the Gashapon kind of hinge. It was very much needed. And for the next comparison, we have the original Candy Toy releases of Tricera and Mammoth Ranger compared to their new Memorial Editions. And for Tricera Ranger, there's really not a ton of difference. Like, this is the new one, this is the old one. I'd say maybe like a slight difference in paint or like, color scheme, but the real difference here is the fact that you have all that Kuiper information and stuff on the back of the Candy Toy key. And on the new one, you really don't have that, obviously. So that's just kind of the biggest little, change there that we can kind of visibly see. And of course, the Candy Toy keys had a sticker there for like the middle piece, the little kind of negative space part in the legs, which is also no longer an issue. So I'm glad that that has been kind of resolved, and there he didn't really want to stand. But Mammoth Ranger did get a pretty good upgrade with that helmet, getting the nice line there. I think this one is still sculpted very, very nicely, but this one just kind of makes it pop a little bit more by having that line. So I think that this was another team that had some pretty good upgrades. And even though the Candy Toy versions were also still pretty good keys, they were definitely better than Gashapon keys back in the day, but just not quite as good as Deluxe. But now we have keys that are even better than that, and it's just so nice to see it. So the biggest change for Hurricaneger obviously was the key color. So the original one here has this kind of tealish color, and now we have this kind of green color. And obviously, of course, the fact that they changed the key cuts, like I said, to where it would no longer say Hurricaneger. So I don't know, I feel like I kind of prefer the color scheme of the original key, which doesn't really want to stand right now. But of course, I guess we have to refer to the book one last time, because that would be sort of the definitive authority on how these are supposed to look. So yeah, the new one's probably more accurate in terms of the green color scheme, so I will give it to that on this one. And then I'm not even going to bother to do a little transition for the next little key comparison, because it's just the fact that we have, the nice metallic Beat Buster compared to the original not metallic one, and then same thing with Stag Buster to where it's essentially the same exact key, just now all metallic and silver and shiny, and just looks a lot better than the original ones we got from that second deluxe Go Buster set from 2012. Alright, so for this part of the video, this is where I'm going to show off some of the keys from the set in the Memorial Edition Mobirates. So a lot of the set, of course, is going to be repetitive just because of the nature of how Ranger keys work and the keys that are in this set. But I figured, at least we'll show off all the teams that are included and whatever is happening here, which we'll talk about with these ones. There's a reason why it's these 4 specific ones that I have brought out here. So we'll go ahead and start with Goggle Red, just to show off the regular Goggle 5 sounds in here. So now we have these 4 keys and why they're here. So of course, we got to show off what the Donbrothers Ranger keys do in the Memorial Edition Mobirates. But why is Kaizoku and Hurricaneger here? Well, that is a good question. So for some reason, the Gokaiger keys, so both Kaizoku and Kaizoku and Hurricaneger, so in the original Gokaiger toy line, these keys were unique. They actually read out to Gokaiger, and they said Hurricaneger, and then we did the team kind of button sound, it would do the full Ninpu Sentai Hurricaneger sound. So because of that, there was 3 different Hurricaneger key cuts. For whatever reason, this Memorial Edition version has removed that uniqueness from the keys, which is very, very odd. So the Kaizoku key and the Hurricaneger key now are both the exact same key cut. Ooh. That could have been a big disaster. There it is. But basically, they are now the same key cut as a regular Hurricaneger key. In fact, with Kaizoku, it's going to look the exact same as Hurricane Red because it has a little red key cut there, and then the Hurricaneger key cut. And the same thing for Hurricaneger here as well. It has the same Hurricaneger key cut over there. And I don't know why they did that. It's very, very bizarre. But here's just to show it to you. In the case if you're wondering, oh well, did they remove those sounds from the Memorial Edition Mobirates? Why no, they didn't. So this is the deluxe Hurricaneger key from 2011, which as you can see, and I probably compared it earlier here, I'm kind of filming everything out of order here. Very different greens and coloring there. This is a different key cut. And this is on the Memorial Edition Mobirates. So they did not remove those unique Gokaiger and Hurricaneger sounds, but for some reason, these keys did, and I don't really get that. But now, of course, it's time to show off the Donbrothers keys. That's why there's multiple Mobirates here. So, there goes Dragoku, but since the main 6 Donbrothers all have the same key cut right there, we're just going to show off Don Momotaro and Don Dragoku, just because. That one's a little tight there, but let's go ahead and show it off. So that does unlock a brand new sound in the Memorial Edition Mobirates, which is New Hero, which makes sense. At the time, technically still now, they are sort of the still current Sentai, quote unquote, so depending on when this video actually releases, that might not be true, but yeah, it works. Obviously, it would have been nice for them to have a unique Donbrothers sound, but unfortunately that just couldn't happen. Now with these older phones, of course, we found out from the videos I've done in the past with testing this out, all the new key cuts are kind of based off of old key cuts because they've added another notch that can become a key cut. So in the original Mobirates, Donbrothers was kind of originated or engineered from the Denjiman key cut, which this one's not on. There we go. And that makes perfect sense, bringing in the Denjiman Ranger key. Because as you can see, we have Donbrothers and Denjiman. Donbrothers just has an extra key cut in this little notch right there. which is how the Memorial Edition Mobirates knows the difference between the two Sentais. And here to wrap it up, here is every post-Ninninger Ranger key that they have released so far, and we're making progress. So one of the things I always wanted from the return of Ranger keys was to get the seasons after where they had stopped, which was Ninninger back in 2017 was the last time we got a full Sentai team post, Gokaiger, because we already had GoBusters, Kyoryuger, Tokiger, and then we got Ninninger. Zyuranger through everything else afterward. Never got keys for a long period of time, nor did they get full complete teams. And while we're still definitely not there yet for Zyuranger, Kyuranger, Lupin Ranger, and Pato Ranger, Ryusoldier, Kyoryuger, and Zenkaiger, Donbrothers was our first one to actually get a full team. Now we're still missing like Murasame and Torbolts and stuff like that. So I wouldn't consider this like the fullest complete Donbrothers we could possibly get, but it's definitely a very good stride. And the fact that we have the Reds and the 6th from every team, at least from that part of it, from Zyuranger onward, is definitely at least a very good start. And I'm happy with what we have here. I certainly want more. We have sounds for other Zenkaigers that they could do. I would love to see the rest of these teams get filled out, especially teams like Kyuranger and stuff like that. It's kind of funny because Lupin Ranger and Pato Ranger are technically the most complete of the post-Ninninger teams besides Donbrothers, because we actually have 4 keys from that season instead of just 2, just because of the nature of how that season worked. But this is fantastic. Every single one of these keys I think is really, really good. But I want more. Like I said, this is a start. We have a Kinoger silhouette tease on the way and everything, so this is definitely a good way to begin. And with that, that is going to do it for my review of the Ranger Key Set Memorial Edition Anniversary Heroes and Donbrothers set. So I can recommend this set if you never have gotten any of these teams before, if you want the most highest quality, show accurate versions of them. Of course, if you want the Donbrothers keys, which are exclusive to this set. There is a lot to like about it, but as I mentioned earlier in the review, with changes to the Gokaigers and Hurricaneger and whatever's going on with the Yellow Buster there are some weird things about this set. And if you have the 35 red set, which has all these other reds, and if you even have the After Gokai set, which has Red Buster, you're going to be getting some repeat keys here and stuff like that, which is a little annoying. It's an interesting lineup of keys. I wouldn't necessarily mind if the upcoming Kinoger set, which as at the time of this video, we don't know what's going to be in it, is kind of a very similar approach and has 7s, which would be like Dynaman and Abba Ranger and Kyoryuger and that kind of thing. That would be kind of interesting to see, but we don't know exactly what they're going to do with that. So for now, this is just kind of a weird kind of one-off set that gives you 6 brand new keys and upgrades some past ones. But I really do like it. It's just a neat, interesting set. So, of course, until next time, you guys can check out all of the reviews on all of the other Memorial Edition items from this post-Gokaiger toy line kind of thing we got going on here. And, of course, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LivingRangerKey or LightningFigPR, and I will see you all later. To wrap up this video, I'd like to thank my $5 and above patrons, Jurassic Samurai, Maggot Alchemist, Robert Browning, Static Thunder, Brendan Overland, Maji Yellow, Redstone MCPC, Comics 1017, James Darty, Monster Rocket, John Luke, Eric Berry, Tyler Brzezinski, Matthew Thorne, Josh Landry, Paramitis, and CPT Tesla. You can support Toku Topics for as little as $1 a month on my Patreon, link in the description below.